Shift Command 1. Suppose. Okay, let's do it again. So what we're gonna do, we create this web apps quickly.
Okay.
First create a resource group. So what we are doing in this lab for our web deployment slots, so we will create two apps and then we'll publish two profiles from our Visual Studio, and we swap from production app to deployment slots to, sorry, staging app, and vice versa to see how to use a web slot. So what we do, first thing, we create web app.
Okay.
Okay, so let's create a new, call it say web app RG, and oops, what happened here? Web app RG. Okay, we don't want this unique name. We just want Azure website. It's not available. Okay, make it one. That work. Yep. Right. So we use .NET 8 in region. We need
UK South.
South. So it says in secure web app name this. Right. It's not. It's still not available. Okay. Okay. South. We use standard normal database. We don't want database. Continuous deployment. Don't worry about that. Just skip that. Public access fine. And we do quickly. We don't want application inside. Tag, tag, and create. So while this app is creating, I'll just explain again about Canary deployment strategy.
Okay.
Okay. So like quickly, I'll do that again. Say for example, you have got an app. So this is in production and this is on pass, and there's another similar identical web app. We call it staging app. Yeah.
Yep.
So all the users are logged onto this one, and say pretend this is version 1.0. Client comes in asking for a new feature to deploy to deploy onto this app. So instead of deploying this feature into this app, we'll deploy onto this staging app.
Yep.
So we create this developer, we will create the code, we do the testing, scanning, deployment, and other things. So make sure all is working fine. So what we'll do, we'll use, so for example, you got, like say for example 100 users are on this app working on it or using it. So what we'll do, we use, like say for example, a small subset of users, say like 10, and ask them to use this app instead of this app. So at the moment they were identical. As soon as we install this feature, this was also 1.0, so then it will become version 1.1.
Okay.
So the users start working fine, perfectly okay. So we are good. So then we say to our management, to our infrastructure, all is good, fine. So all the users can use this version. So what we'll do, instead of them, because they are the old version, so they want them to use new feature, so we'll do a swap.
Okay.
Okay, so all those user will shift back here. The advantage of this is no downtime, very like you can do in out of hours and all that. And say for example in future if uh, the client comes to you say no, we want back same version 1.0, so you can do swap back,
Okay.
like go back to this one. Yeah, let's
Yeah.
see our it's created. Let's create another app. Right, so we are here. If you go to say our deployment slots, we can create a slot and call it production, or we could call it. So before we do that, let's go to our Visual Studio,
Okay.
and if we go to our deployment app, do you want to say, for example, if we go to traffic manager deployment, we'll use this one. Right. So, say for example, we have created a just simple .NET project in our Visual Studio,
Yep.
and we'll publish this profile to our web app onto Azure portal. So, just going to index and just change this to say, for example,
Production.
production. Yes, good. Production, production app, and just call it version 1.0.
Yes.
Add it, save it, and then we just publish this to our web app. So
Yep.
if you go to publish and create a new profile, and we would Azure, new Azure App Service Windows, next Windows. So this is a resource code we created, and we choose this one. So this is our production app, yeah?
Yes.
Close it, and okay. Remember we had this error.
Yes.
So to fix that, we go to our app and we go to configuration. Okay, no problem. Okay, configuration and choose this on, yeah, and save it. Continue to updating web app. So these are the authentication method. We enabling it so that it works with the Visual Studio.
Yes.
So that's done. So if we publish now, so it should give us a web page. Also, while this is happening, we can go to overview and see our web app is working. So we go to profile, see is working fine. So if we go back, switch to back, it's still running. So that should give us, so it is publishing with the changes we made in the index HTML and oops, what happened? So we it gave us an error. I think we made the change while creating a profile, so that's why I didn't like it. So I created again new profile. Let's publish this time again, same steps. Let's see. Looks like it's gonna work this time. So do you understand what I'm saying? So what we'll do, we'll make another change into this app, and instead of creating two web apps, we're using one web app and creating slots between them. See, production app
Yeah.
version 1, but
I see.
if you go back to this one, if I refresh it, see, this is also working.
Yeah.
Right, so now just assume that all the users working on this app, which is a production app, and they're fine. And now client comes to you, they want a new feature, and you need to work on this and then deploy to this application. To do this, just pretend we are creating this another uh, feature. Just we are assuming, so we change this to say new feature,
Yep.
new feature, and for for staging app. Yep. So if we save this and save it again, and this time we deploy. So now we have changed it. So do this, we need to have a web slot before that. So we go to our web app and go to deployment slots. So you can see that add. Right. So what we have done now till now, so we have got a production app.
Yes.
All is working fine, and we call it like version 1. Yeah.
Yeah.
And say for example the new feature we need to develop. So instead of this app, we will create another slot,
Okay.
a slot in our web app. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we call this slot say staging app.
Okay.
Staging app. And so we do this step first, then after that we like we've done already. So we go to our Visual Studio and change the page like we did this. You know that new feature. Remember we did this? We added the line, then the text, new
Yes.
feature version 2. Yeah. So so we first step we create a slot. Second step which we have done already, that's supposed to be second step, new feature, and then we publish this profile from VS Code to WebApp.
Yes.
Okay, so let's do it. So we go to our WebApp and so if we refresh it, so at the moment we do not have any deployment slots here. So we add a slot, call it like where the developer will work, we call it staging.
Yep.
Staging, yeah, are you understanding or not?
Yes, for now I'm understanding.
Yes, staging app, and we call it, we exactly want identical copy of that, our existing production. So,
Yes,
so one app, only we got one app,
but two slots.
two slots, that's it. So we add it. So we can do switch like, say for example, you got two identical cars and you can use one car at one day and say for example, you want something happens to your old car, you can get to your second car, and when that car is working fine, so first one, you switch back again. Or you can do any changes you want to fill, so you can swap around all the time. So now you can see we got a production which is normal, and we added this staging app. So same thing at the moment, we should not have anything, so it's blank. Yeah.
Yep.
But if we go to our production app, and if you go to which is a normal one, which is this one. If you go to so if we click this, see we got working fine for our production, but we have nothing. If I duplicate this and go to slot deployment sorts, and if we click this URL, what do you think was going to come?
Okay, so you press swap, so the staging app version will come,
Which version?
version 2,
Why?
because we switched the slots.
But we haven't uploaded the app onto this slot.
Oh,
We haven't created. So what's the step for that?
we have to publish a new profile.
That's it. That's it. Good. So we have put already new feature for staging app. We have saved this
Yeah.
and we just publish that. Oops. So if you go right click, publish. So it is already been done. So if you publish that, new profile, let's do it again. Next, Azure app, next. And this time it should pick up the staging slot. Yeah,
Mm, yeah.
staging app. See deployment slots.
Yes, I see.
Yeah, so you finish that. If this doesn't work, we can download from local file from that download publish profile, and we can use as a file and upload into our uh, VS Code, and we can use that way. But it works sometime. In case if it doesn't work, if it doesn't show over here, so we
Okay.
close that and publish that. See, so we have built that, and you can see this new feature for staging app. So at the moment, tell me what user are using. They're using production, yeah?
Yes.
So to know that, if you go to our web app, if you go to overview, and we just click that, and it will take you to production, yeah?
Yeah.
But now we have worked onto a new feature, and you want some user to work onto that staging app, and when that is working fine, we can swap back to our main production app. So if you go to our deployment slots, so at the moment, everybody's working here, yeah?
Yeah.
So we do a swap. Source is this one, and it is going to target to this one, yeah?
Yeah.
So if you go start swap, swapping slots. So it's all the see, create and publish a staging slot. Go staging where deployment. Open the URL, swap publication, and see we're on the step 6 now.
Yes.
And we can do a rollback, like if you want to go back to our production, we can do a rollback. Yeah, so just wait for a few seconds. The reason we are doing this lab, so now we have done everything like a manual step. So in our next lab, we will use Azure pipelines. So that was just like a rehearsal for you, a revision for you. Now you understand our deployment strategies, such as we learned about blue-green deployment. Then we done SOP deployment slots. So in this case, you got only one app, but you can do creating different slots. You can create more slots like different environments, and it's very handy. So now the SOP is done. So if you go back to overview, so if I click this profile, what will you get? Tell me.
Okay, so now since we uploaded the new profile, we switched the slots, we will see the second version.
So, see, that's the one.
Yes.
New feature for staging app
Ching
version.
app.
Understood? Perfectly.
Yes.
So we successfully did a web deployment slot. So for example, the user come to you, the client comes to you, okay, we want it back, we don't want this. So what you can do, you just go back to swap again and do a rollback. Just like you're saying, if a issue occurs,
Yes.
if a issue occurs with the new deployment, you can perform another swap to roll back to previous application. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have successfully set up Azure Web App, deploy multiple versions using deployment slots, and swap the environment to update your application with zero downtime. So we have also learned how to map custom. We didn't learn actually, we didn't do it because there's no requirement at this stage. So in the next section, we'll explore how to automate deployment using Azure pipelines. So I want to go back to again. So we do swap again. So this time what we have, so we got a staging app and we're doing the swap to production app, source and production target. Yeah,
Yeah.
start swap. Now we can see we have completed a swap. So what do you think? What will happen if we click the link?
If since we swapped again, we will see the first version now.
Production version, yeah, the same one, the version we did. So if you go back again, see, that's it.
Yeah.
That's done. Okay, so now let's do an Azure pipeline automation instead of doing manually. So successfully we have learned how to swap and everything, yeah?
Yeah.
Now what we'll do, so in our last lab, what we have done, we created web slots and swapped over. So we will automate this process. Let's go to our deployment slot and delete this staging app because we're going to be using a release pipeline or build pipeline to use that task, yeah, from automation.
Yeah.
So delete this and call it staging app. delete it. So while just deleting it, we go to our Visual Studio
Yes.
and we code it. So we push this repository to our code.
Yes.
So we go to Git,
Git, create Git repository.
create Git repository. So we do Azure DevOps,
Yes.
and we got this project AZ-400, and we call it WebApp. We call it WebApp deployment slot. Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
and we create and push. So it is doing in the background. So while this is happening, if you log on to our Azure DevOps, and see, should be, so if you go to our this project and see repos, if you go to our repositories, and if it's push, so is it called web deployment slot,
Yes.
right? So we just set up a build and .NET framework. So we got all this, right? So we are creating this building this pipeline. So we need to add another task. So after, as you can see, we're using main and our Windows image. These are the built-in variables. Installing NuGet tool and then restoring the solution, and then we're doing a VS build of this solution, and this is where it is doing a test, and then after that we're gonna need to publish this. So we need this code, so it's not indenting. Actually, I'll show you again. So if you go back to here, then publish it, that should find it. So we call it deployment web slot artifact. Let's do save and run. So if you go to job, and you can see you can start running. Okay. Right. So I'm back again. So what we have done in the last so we created yes, right. So what we did earlier, so we did everything manually. So we created an app, created slots, and we switched over and we swapped the slot after making some change. So what we'll do in this exercise now, what we'll do, we make a use of Azure pipelines. Yeah,
Yeah.
Azure pipeline. So this will automate all the steps we did before.
All right.
So we will create a build, and then after we use that build, then we create our release. Okay, and
Yes.
in that release we create two stages. So first stage, we'll create a web app slot, or you can say deployment slot.
Yes.
Okay, and okay, so we got this deployment slot, and then in the second stage, so we use in Azure CLI because we do not have any task in Azure DevOps to create a deployment slot. Okay, and in the second stage, uh, before we make a second stage, we'll make a change in our code. Yeah,
Yeah.
and we will do a trigger a post deployment validation,
Yes.
and then in the second stage we'll have a task to swap to the staging slot.
Slot.
Okay, so
Yes.
let's do that. So for example, so did we have a recent build? So let's create a build first. Yeah,
Yeah.
so if we go to pipeline, so so what we have done recently, if you remember that, uh, we created this build, so which is working fine. If we want, we can create another one just for exercise. So we go to build, and so basically I think we did in our exercise before, so we created this build pipeline, remember?
Yes.
Deploy web slot artifacts. So okay, let's create a release pipeline.
Right.
So go to create release.
And,
uh,
we should make a new pipeline
Sorry,
from the left side.
yeah, that's fine. So new release pipeline.
Yeah.
Okay, and let's
Empty
start
job.
with empty job. Well done. And
Okay. Deployment
what do you call it?
to slot. Deployment to slot first stage, and the
No, what's the
pipeline is
pipeline? What's it called?
a deployment hub pipeline.
Deployment app pipeline. And the stage is called?
Deployment to slot.
Well done. Deployment to slot. Okay.
Yeah.
And we add also artifacts.
Yes.
So we go to our source build, and the artifact we're gonna choose is web app deployment.
Slot.
Web app deployment slot, yeah. And we choose this one.
Yes.
Click add,
Yeah.
and we also trigger this for our continuous deployment trigger. So we enable that.
Right.
Save it. Save it. Now we go to our tasks. So what do we call it? This task.
We need a Azure CLI task first. The
So no,
name is
what's the stage name we call it?
the stage name is this deployment to slot.
Deployment slot.
We just add the Azure CLI task.
Okay, so the reason we are using Azure CLI task because there is no task to create a deployment slot. So if you check web app slot. You can't find, you can see a swap task, but you cannot see a deployment task. So for that reason, we use our command line Azure CLI. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So if we add that, configure this
Yes. We
Azure
select. Okay. Script type,
script type, we use
PowerShell.
PowerShell and we use
That's,
inline.
yes.
And I just copy this command from here. Then we call it staging, copy, copy, and paste. So this is our web app, which is already exists in production. And this is a resource group, and we're creating a slot staging. AZ web app deployment, yeah. And that's fine. That is when just save it.
Yes.
All right.
Now we add Azure App Service.
Azure App Server, yeah.
Yep.
Azure App Service.
Deploy.
Manage or deploy?
It's deploy.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's configure this. Deploy subscription. We use our subscription. And app
Right.
service deploy, app service name. We got this one. That's it.
Yes.
Save it. Okay, that's done. Now, if we go to pipeline, so before I do that, let me show you. Say, for example, what we have here. Let's delete this existing web app slots, so we don't want to override this. Deployment sort. Let's delete that. This is we created in our last exercise. Remember when we did manually? So
Yes.
now we're using Azure Pipeline. So let's delete this. Delete it and just copy that. It's irreversible. Okay, we understand. Copy, copy, paste, delete. While this is deleting, delete it. So if we go to overview, just to show you what web page we're having now. So at the moment, if we click this, just close all that extra pages. Okay, that's done, that's done. So if we go to close that also, and so if you go to this page, we are not seeing anything. What? Not this one, sorry. So if you go to web page, overview, uh, so we are just, this is our production, just we are seeing this at the moment, yeah?
Yes.
This is like everybody's using that, and then then we got a requirement to create a new feature and deploy into production app. So instead of production app, we will deploy over here in our web app, but we'll use a different slot for it. Like a subset of user will use that slot and do testing and scanning and sanity check, whatever. And when this is working fine, we'll create a release and then there will be a post deployment intervention, and it will ask for approval. If the approval requires approves, then the release will finish and we'll have a new feature on our web app. So just pretend this is what we have existing now, and we'll do manually commit into our code to make it like some changes, yeah, happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just instead of staging, we should be having like production, but we've been using for or from our last exercise. So just pretend this is what we're receiving at the moment because we click this page. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go to that's done. So now if you go to pipeline and so that's what I'm saying, we could have added the code again manually or from Visual Studio and create a new build that would have showed us like production app, but we were using from our last exercise.
Yes.
Do you want to do,
Approve.
sorry,
No, nothing.
approve what?
No, I thought I had to approve.
All
Nothing
right,
else.
no, no, I'm saying, do you want to create a new build so we can have page showing production, or do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm understanding what you're saying.
Okay, okay. So let's create a
Yeah.
new stage,
Yes. It's on the right side. Yes. Add stage. New stage. Empty
empty
job.
job, yeah. And what do we
Yes.
call it?
We call it swap slots.
Sub slot, yeah. Save, save. So what's the first task?
First task is you have to look for swap slots.
Sub slot servers, sub slots.
Yes, it's this one.
Yep,
Hold on.
and get it free. What happened?
Not this one, not this one.
You said this one.
You know,
Okay,
you
sorry.
type the slots and it
So
changed
swap.
slot. Yeah, this one, first one.
Okay, so Azure App Service
App
Manager,
service
that's the
manage.
one.
Yes.
Okay, so we do the Azure subscription. Swap slots, so you can have different actions. You can do that. Look, you can start app service, stop app service, restart service, all that. Complete swap with preview, delete slot, and everything. All right. So what we are doing here, this is our app. Oops, this is our app service resource group or source slot. Why is that showing?
So slot. We
This is because we haven't ran the pipeline yet, so it's not been created at the moment. So we just hard code here. The one we call it, what did we call it? Staging?
yes.
All right.
Careful on the typing. You type double G.
Oops, staging. Just to make sure I can just check it anyway. So I
Save
no,
on the right.
what did we do? What did we do? We had staging. Uh, it's double G.
Yes.
Is it? One second, let's check again.
Okay. Save it for now, so we can change it later.
All right, okay, so now, okay. So if you go to
Pipeline.
pipeline, go to
Go
task,
to task. Press task. Uh, App service. Okay. Yeah.
it's double G.
Double G. All right.
Okay, so if you go back again, and it is double G. Staging. Right, and that's done. Save it. Now we also we'll do something else afterwards. So we do another task which is an agentless.
Yes.
What's the task called?
The task is called, one second, if I remember, it's manual intervention.
Manual,
It's there in front of you.
manual
Mm.
intervention. What's it called?
And we call it manual intervention dash conduct a sanity check.
Done. So basically, this task is to make sure, like testing and everything, the existing app is working fine. The one the target,
Yeah.
the source app, like our main app, which is this one, is to make sure.
And
So,
we paste the display name in the instructions.
okay, save it, save it,
Save.
and
We add a new agent job.
renew node agent job. And what is it?
Azure CLI.
So this is a task like if you want to delete the swap slot afterwards, it's
Yeah.
necessary, but we can have it. So Azure CLI
Yes.
and
It's delete the staging slot.
so if you do go back to source script type PowerShell
PowerShell inline.
and command is double G,
Yes.
should be one, but doesn't matter.
Yes.
We are using this now. Okay, copy that. Copy here. That's done. That's done. That's done. That's done. Don't worry about that. Remember, save.
Yes.
Anything else? So if you go to pipeline, we do yes. So we need to do this postpone deploy, and I choose it myself. Where's my name? Kashif. Yeah. So I will approve that. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And that's fine. Anything else?
Anything else? No. And then we just create release. We could be changing the version
Oh yeah,
in the
software
build
production.
pipeline.
So that's clicked already.
Yeah.
All right. Now, oh, okay. Yeah, like thank you. So what we do a quick change, yeah?
Yes.
So we go
Duplicate the tab.
to duplicate, yeah. Have you saved it?
Depo
Yeah, let's do that.
yes. Okay, we go on repositories.
Yeah. So go to repositories.
Files,
So now just think about it like there's a
pages,
change came and you need to deploy to this our normal web app and it will it
index as
and and
HTML,
it will switch to our uh,
wrong file, index as HTML, pages, down. Yes, this one. No, no.
up not down, this one.
Yeah,
Okay, so we
and we
call
can
we
change
call it
in.
so we call it this is our oops edit,
Yes,
so we can call it this is our new feature app version 3, yeah?
Yep.
Commit, just commit, index commit, and then after that, so we have done it. So shall we deploy our create release, yeah?
Yes.
And just say new feature edit. Let's do that, and then so release created. Let's see. Let's see when come back. So if we just go to logs, so it is applying. So it is asking for approval. Yeah, so I
Okay.
can pending approval. I'll say yes, it is good to approve. It's good, so I approve it. And if I go back to my pipeline again, right? So it should pending, still pending. Is there anything you got it to do? Check.
Let me see.
I don't think so.
I probably have to. Yeah, here I have to prove it.
All right, so maybe you added it before.
Anna, let's go.
Done.
Like, Uh, there's nothing that
So it's been
it's.
so it has been approved. So it's just queued.
It says pending approval, waiting for sequence timeout 30. Damn, 30 days.
30 what?
Yeah. No, I mean that's the max time.
Hmm. So I just refreshed it. So it is going to swap the slots now.
Yes.
So if I go to while it's doing it, if I go to my website, refresh it, and so we did a change, and so if you go and see, so see at the moment there's nothing here.
Yes.
It is asking for malware intervention, sanity check, resume. So it is running. downloading artifacts. So if you go and see, we should have a deployment slot. You see?
Yeah, I see.
So you
We
go
have 12
deployment slot
staging.
here. So if you go to this one and we see, if we click this, we should have a new feature in there.
All right,
Here we go. This is our new feature, app version 3.
all right.
So it's deleting that. Let's see what happens afterwards. Okay, that's done. So if we go back to not staging, refresh it. See, it's been deleted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see.
So if you go to overview, so to fix this error, what I've done, I quickly committed the code again and made it production and ran a pipeline, and we can see that the page is running.
Yeah, you have to approve also.
Yeah, you can see page is running. So we go to here, approve, approve, rush, pipeline. So if we downloading artifact, agent job, sub slot. So if we go to our deployments, deployment slots, we should create staging.
All
So
right.
right, what we have done now to fix the issue for a time being, we gone to pipeline and pipeline, add release pipeline, edit pipeline, and I disabled this task for Azure CLI.
Yes.
So if I go to my last release pipeline, go to this edit pipeline, 1 second. So do we have a slots? Yeah. So what I've done, I disable this task, I run a release again. And if I go
Yeah.
to my web app, and if I go to overview, this is what we have our, if I click this, this is our production Azure version app. And so we are swapped back from
Yes.
production to web slot. I hope this is informative. So what we'll do, we do the traffic measure again tomorrow.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye.